Your meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Fitchburg Landmarks Commission meeting this afternoon. I'd like to call a meeting to order. It's approximately 4:47 in the afternoon. And first question I always ask is our committee secretary, Lisa, has this meeting been properly noticed?
Yes.
Okay. Hearing that we're properly noticed under the Wisconsin statutes, we can start by looking at our agenda. First item is approval of the minutes of the August 24th, 2020 meeting. They were sent out with the broadcast for this meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review them? Any suggestions, corrections, additions, or changes that we feel should be made?
I sent by email just one character typo, misspelling,
Okay,
which Lisa incorporated. So I move adoption with that one correction.
okay, we have one minor correction for spelling. We have a second.
Second.
Shannon seconds it too. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes as corrected, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Record note, motion was carried unanimously. Our agenda review for tonight. Currently, we have one item and the draft a report of from the department as to how things are going there with our COVID-19 issues and other aspects of what's happening at City Hall. So the first thing then is certificate of appropriateness for 5329 Lacey Road. And I see our property owners are with us and they're requesting approval to change the entrance to the barn on the family farm from a earthen berm with a deck to a wooden deck with stairs. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Would you please identify yourselves for the record since?
Kevin Stefanchuk.
Julie Stefanchuk?
Okay. Kevin and Julie, welcome to our meeting tonight. Would you please give us a brief overview of what you're doing and why?
Okay, so the barn, when we bought the property 3 years ago, had a dirt berm up to about 10 feet from the barn, and then there was a wooden structure up to the entrance of the second floor of the barn. The wood structure was substandard, and there were no railings on the side. It was made of some older wood with roof asphalt shingles on the top of it. So it had a slight angle up to the entrance of the barn, and we felt that was not safe. And so we took that wooden structure down, and then we took the dirt berm down. And now we'd like to do is build a 10 foot by 12 foot deck at the entrance second floor of the barn, and then a set of stairs down to grade, trying to keep it somewhat aesthetically similar to what you might see that dirt berm and that wooden structure. So similarly looking, but more structurally appropriate and safe. So the stairs up to the deck are about almost 8 feet wide, try to mimic that wood berm. And then the deck is 12 foot wide, which is the width of the opening to the barn. And then we have handrails around both for the stairs and for the deck.
We included samples of the style.
Yeah, and we included samples of what we're thinking of what it might look like, plus drawings that show that in our application.
Okay. We did get those as part of our attachments for our meeting. And I just have a couple questions for you after reviewing it. What material are you thinking of using for the deck and the stairs?
It would be wood, probably treated wood, and either painted or stained.
Wasn't sure if you're looking at something like the composite materials or pressure treated or cedar or what you were thinking.
I think pressure treated, wood, or are you thinking composite at all for the deck boards? No. So pressure treated and then either painted or stained.
Okay. And I did ask Lisa, and she did check, and the barn, when the property was put on the historic register, was part of it. So that's why we're talking about the barn, to make sure that the property is
Right.
continued to be maintained as the original application for the programs asked it to be. In looking at the information you provided, the one thing that I was looking at that I was concerned about is the fact that from the street view, you're going to have railings on both sides of the steps. Is there some way you can make that so that it's not just a spindle type railing, so that it basically is more invisible?
What do you mean by
Glass
invisible?
panels
What are you
would be
thinking?
one option. The stainless steel cable might be another option. A fine cable would still meet building code, because I'm sure you're going to have to met building code is going to make sure that our building inspection is going to make sure that you're safe as far as the
Right.
code. And I'm just looking at that as possibly a way that you could have it so that from the street view, you don't see the railing as vividly as you would if you had spindles or some other solid material up there.
Oh, you're talking about the railing around the deck.
Talking about the railing around the deck. I'm just talking about the front panels, not the whole thing, but just the front panels. So that when you're looking at it from the street side, the view of the barn isn't distorted by the railings that would be up there for the stairs and around the deck.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, there's about a 1.5 foot of railing on both sides of the stairs
Correct.
at the deck level. So the stairs being about almost 8 feet wide, and the deck 12 feet. So it's about 2 feet on either side. But we can certainly, yeah, there's that front elevation. So you're talking about at the deck side, the two facing the road, on
Right.
the left and right side of the stairs. Yeah, I think what do you think?
I would have to just rethink about what kind of materials we could use. I didn't really think about it from camouflaging it. I was thinking of it more in terms of enhancing the front. So if your concern is that you prefer it to not look like there's anything there, we could rethink, the materials that we use.
And he's just talking about the spindles, the verticals.
But you'd want to have it be continuous. You wouldn't want to have all kinds of different
No, right. You would do it all the way around with that.
materials. Well, and down the side then.
What do you think?
I think we would have to reconsider the materials.
Yeah, I don't know that I have I know we talked about, like a metal, wire type fencing.
That was an option that we had thrown around when we first did the design. I think what we tried to do was make it look as, kind of wanted to create something that looked complementary to the barn, using the heavier beams and adding some corbels underneath and kind of making the staircase be aesthetically pleasing from all sides was kind of the thinking when we chose the materials, to not make it look like something, that I didn't want it to look too light, I guess, compared to the girth of the building. So I tried to pick something out from a design perspective that complemented the building. If our objective would be to make it look as though there's as little there as possible, then there's ways I would think that we could possibly do that, either with paint or with using a lighter material, if that would be, the difference between being able to move forward or not.
Okay. Those are just my questions. Let's open it up to the other members of the commission and see what their feelings are and any questions they might have.
My question is, could the, if at some point, some future owner or you yourselves had decided that, you didn't want, that deck and stairs there, could it be removed without, could it be removed?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Structurally, there's, concrete, piers that go in to hold the end of the deck up, and then it attaches to the barn with bolts, but that can be removed.
Okay, that,
And that's the only thing that attaches to the barn is the structure at the floor level. The railings are set back 6 inches from the barn wall because of the sliding doors have to pass through that. So it's not so the railings are not attached to the barn.
right. Okay. That answers my question.
Anyone else have any feedback or discussion?
I'd be curious to hear from Eric on the architectural style, whether it should be more in line with the existing look and feel of the barn and the home, or if we should be going with more of the see-through or I guess a less intrusive style of narrower spindles or the metal approach.
This is Eric, and I was kind of trying to envision that myself a little bit. I understand Michael's concern or issue that you could see through the more contemporary wire, but I guess I am fine with the verticals. Again, the big question right there was, can this completely be removed from the building without harm in the future? And that's been answered. And I think that I think trying to make it and this in keeping with whatever he would have done at that time, I think the spindles would be probably the more appropriate. But I understand why you'd like to have the wire there. I've used that on occasion, but I think it just makes it look more contemporary. It actually kind of has a little bit of the reverse idea. So I personally, I like the spindles, and again, you have to have them 4 inches separated and all of that for code. And I think it looks nice, especially from and is safe from the side view. I think it does everything you'd want to have. So I'm okay with either one, but I think having the spindles is perfectly fine.
Okay. Eric, would the color of the spindles have an impact, you think, depending on how they were painted?
Yeah, I guess I'd like to see them in darker coloration than a white. That was the original thought, I think. But I guess, does anybody else have a strong view on that?
I
Michael,
agree.
Yeah.
I agree that I prefer the spindles too. It's just a question of color, whether you want to have it the same as the barn, sort of blend in it, or whether you want to contrast. And I don't have a strong opinion either way, but I do think the spindles would look nicer and be more of the old fashioned.
Okay.
This is Eric. Eric again. I mean, personally, I don't think matching the color of the siding would be terrible. I think that's it could be a brownish color aside from that, or it could be that color. But I think white would jump it out too much, and I think that having a darker color would, even a gray, would be appropriate from what from my feelings.
Okay. Any other discussion?
And Eric, the question, again, the point is you wouldn't have a, staircase like that in a 19th century barn, so there's no need to try to imagine, many, projects like this. You want something that looks compatible, but you're not trying to make it look as if it were a 19th century edition. You want people to know that, yes, it is it is a later edition, not a modern edition.
That's a very good point, that you can see that, but it still blends in.
Yes.
And that's what I think the thing is. Unless you want to make a tractor ramp, I think you're kind of caught with that one. I do think you want it to blend in, but you also want it to stand out a little bit as not, not of that era exactly. And I think I think the spindles would look nice, and certainly it looks like a solid stairway. I think that's the idea.
Okay,
I liked the width of the stairs that are proposed. I thought that the 8 feet, I think Kevin said, seemed like it would provide some nice visibility. I like the idea that the doors can still open and shut and maintain the functionality of the barn. So I think the drawings as proposed looked good to me. I liked Eric's suggestions of using a darker color rather than having the white stand out. So I'm in favor.
okay, well, let's ask the property owners if they're in favor or would be agreeable to a darker color versus the white for the spindles.
Absolutely, I think we could work with that.
Okay,
Just for the spindles or the whole deck, are you thinking?
I would probably do, if we're gonna go with something darker on the spindles, I would go with something darker or maybe weathered on the entire thing. Just if the objective is to make it a little bit more, less visible, we'll just have it so it actually just kind of blends in with the stone and the weathered look of the barn. Our objective is to keep that look and be able to repair and update at the same time.
okay. I think having it designed so that you can repair and maintain is a great idea. And I think that if you're willing to work with us as far as the coloration, so it blends as much as possible with the barn, I think that we're in pretty good position then for having a motion as to whether or not we want to approve the proposal that has been presented to us. Is there any further discussion from the commission? At this point then, if there's no additional discussion, I'd ascertain a motion as to the direction we take as to the project that's been submitted.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. And of course, Lisa, you're gonna add the proper verbiage to that to make sure that the certificate is outlined and identified according to the requirements of our guidelines and our ordinances. So we'll be very general in our discussion then as to what it should be. We'll let you do the final detail. It's more or less putting the correct verbiage with it to make sure that when you go to the next step for approval, that you have everything that you need. Okay, we have a motion and a second then. I did call a vote. All those in favor of the proposal as presented, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, please let the record note that the motion was carried unanimously. Another question I have, which is not too significant, is the time of year. It's getting cold to be building. Are you planning to do this soon, or is this going to be a spring project, or what's your thought there?
It's most likely a spring project. I don't know that we're gonna beat the frost.
Okay,
We still have to pull permits and get contractors and aligned.
Still have to
Gotcha.
find somebody, unless you know somebody to send over this weekend.
What, One question
The
that
guy
I
who put up that white picket fence around the side yard, he did a pretty good job. You might want to talk to him.
I'll have
I
to
have one
talk to
question
him.
that I'd like to pose, but I wait till after we approve this. This is just out of my curiosity. What do you plan moving into the barn on that second floor? What are you using that, second story for?
Right now, it's just kind of an adventure. Right now, we want to just clean it up and be able to access it. I have been using a couple of the rooms upstairs as my keep room. So I have antique furniture out there right now and lots of treasures. So we'd like to be able to utilize the barn somehow, someday. We just haven't put our finger on it yet. You
Great,
guys
thank
will be the first to know.
Yeah. It's a room of your own.
Yeah. Yes.
Kevin, I think that'd be a great
Thank
man
you.
cave. All right, thank you very much for your input and getting the detail to us so we could review it and answering our questions. We appreciate that very much. And I've seen the maintenance you've been doing on the house. We're very happy that you found time to get all those pieces of trim back over the front windows and the fence up, and it's really looking nice. So, and the trees have
you.
disappeared too. So you've been really busy in that yard. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for the work
yeah.
you've been doing, and we're very happy that you're part of our Landmark Commission family as we look at your property, and working with you has been a joy. So thank you for your help.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on our agenda is report from our department.
Yeah,
Lisa,
so,
would you share what's going on with us, please?
yeah, just a couple of brief points. So first, I did want to let everybody know, and I've let Mike Couillard know that Bill Kinney has resigned from the Landmarks Commission. So we currently have a vacancy. I think primarily due to some health issues, but won't get into too many details. But so he decided to step down. Just doesn't have the time right now to be on the commission. And I think my understanding is that we'll likely have the vacancy until the mayor does his next round of appointments, which I think is April or May. So we'll just be one short, but should be able to go about our normal business. So sorry to see Bill go. I know he's been on the commission for a long time and had a wealth of knowledge, I'm sure. So it's too bad. But, and then next is that, so due to the recent orders from Dane County, right now we're all meeting virtually, and in order to hold a meeting, you have to get approval from the mayor and the city administrator. And they review the agenda before a meeting can be scheduled. So really only time-sensitive items should be on agenda. So like a certificate of appropriateness would apply in that case. But anything kind of like if we just wanted to discuss the historic survey, for example, and sort of next steps with that, that is sort of on hold at this point and likely wouldn't be able to hold a meeting, at least as long as these orders are in place. Things seem to be moving pretty quickly, and I'll keep you guys updated as things move along. So
Okay.
if you have any questions, you can always send me an email or anything like that. That's all I've got.
Well, as we discussed, I think it would be very nice if we did a certificate of appreciation for Bill and the service on the commission. And if you would look back in the records and find out how long he's been serving, I know it's been at least over 10 years, and prepare that so that when we do get a chance, we can present it to him. I'd appreciate that very much.
Yep, I can definitely do that.
Okay. And I guess as I look at the rest of the agenda, not often we have such a short agenda. Are there any other announcements that members of the commission would like to share? Hearing none. That leaves us to our last item on our agenda, which is adjournment. So I would ascertain a motion that we adjourn the Landmarks Commission meeting for today at approximately 3 minutes after the hour of 5. Do I have such a motion?
So move.
I so move. This is Eric.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 And I say thank you very much and happy holidays. Have a safe and happy holiday.